Welcome back to the channel. Good morning, etc., etc. I'm out here this morning. In this video, I'm going to talk about the update on the Valiant and some mods that I'm going to be doing to the instrument cluster and some low budget do yourself at home mods to help install a transmission, so on and so forth. So let's get started. I'll show you what I'm working with. Okay, so I got the hi Beetlejuice. I know you got to get in the way. I know. Yeah, I know. Okay, as you can see underneath there, I got the Pittsburgh 2 or 3 ton roll around floor jack and the torque converter and the transmission underneath there. I already got the slant 6 motor in the other day, but I did try Uncle Tony's suggestion in his video on trying to use the plank, and I don't know if it was just because it's just too long of a piece of board or what, but since I don't have a concrete floor or a paved floor of any sorts, I'm out here working in the rock, the dirt, and the chat driveway. The plank of wood, I did get the plank moved up, and a lot of, as you can see underneath there, the bricks down there supported, and I almost got the transmission up, and then I realized that the transmission I have is 1970. It's late. It says late 70, according to the numbers and the letters on the side of the transmission. Same torque converter as the one from 60 or transmission, but the torque converter. But the problem is the snout, the hub, or whatever you want to call it, that goes into the back of the crankshaft on the slant 6. The one for the 70 would not fit in the back of the port on the back of the crankshaft, so I have to use the 65 one because it has a smaller snout. Now, if somebody watching this video or whoever's needing a good slant 6 torque converter, stock torque converter for a 70 non-lockup, I've got that. I'd sell pretty cheap. I have no use for it. But anyway, come on, Beetlejuice, you got to get down. I know you're trying to help. Come on, there you go. No. No. Go lay down. Anyway. Okay, here's my, from a little help. I was thinking about this anyway, but there was another guy on one of the Mopar A-Body Facebook groups that suggested this, but I was planning on doing it anyway. I'm going to, because the Harbor Freight jack has a special bracket that screws in the flat mounting bolt that can only be undone by using an Allen wrench, and it don't have down. I'm not going to tell you again. It doesn't have a what I call a post that slides down, and you put a retainer pin in there like this one does, this cheapo. But the one on the floor has a much wider pedestal slash saddle. This one's a narrow one, so I'm just using this as an example. I could modify this one. It's not as big and doesn't get up as high. I could modify this one, but I'll just, this is 3/16 of an inch thick steel plating I bought from the local metal supply place. I think it's about 30-40 bucks. It's 12 by 17. That's plenty of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically mount it, take the bracket off or whatever, weld, do the measurements, find where the crosshair meets, and then from there use a compass and do a circle, and then from there I'll be grinding and then taking the that saddle or the base plate off the top of the this thing here, off of the jack, mounting it on there, and then welding it to the plate, so I have a floor jack that I can balance a transmission on to install transmissions. So, because if I have to, eventually I'll have to do it on the Dodge pickup up there if I don't find out what the problem is with that noise coming from the front of the transmission. But anyway, so that's going to help. I'll be doing a video on just that, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And then also in this video, wanted to try to keep the dash stock looking, but we wanted to run an aftermarket oil pressure gauge, and I didn't want to go through the hassle of messing with the instrument cluster itself, and I want to keep it short and sweet, low budget as possible. That's like what we do here on this channel. So what I'm going to do, at first I was thinking about cutting a circular hole out in this, but then that would deface this. I want to keep this, even though we don't smoke cigarettes or anything. So what I decided I'm going to do is I'm going to come right in here, cut this tab off. If I need to, if I ever need to take it back out, I can just take a long straight edge screwdriver, push in and pull down and pop this whole thing out of the dash. And then we're coming right across here and cutting this cigarette extinguisher plate right here off. And what I'm going to do is run kind of a thick piece of aluminum and drill holes and pop rivet it in on the existing back here and on this little tab here and here. And that'll give me enough room. And then drill a hole down here on the back side. That'll be hid. And we'll be running this. I won't be needing this mounting bracket, but we're running this aftermarket oil pressure gauge, and all we got to do is just, when we're driving down the road, leave the cigarette tray open. We can watch the oil pressure, and then when we park it, we can close it back up. If we're at a car show, we can close it back up. Nobody will know the difference. And still have the dummy light will be here, but it won't be hooked up. Anyway, there's that. And then on this part, this is the dash part I was talking about. If you don't already know, when you turn your turn signal on these Valiants, they have a double-sided arrow that blinks. One side doesn't come on like my Dart. My Dart has a separate light that lights up for when you do the left turn signal, right turn signal. Well, I don't like this, so what I'm going to do is I got to clean this anyway, get this prepped and sanded and everything ready for paint. So what I'm going to do is I got some white 2-part epoxy by Marine Tex. It's a sandable epoxy. Once it dries, it's just like tougher than Bondo, but it sands just like Bondo. I'm going to fill this port up and then sand it smooth, and then set it somewhere either right here or right here, or I might come up here in the corner and here in the corner, depending on where the actual instrument cluster that this bolts to allows me. I'll be running, got these from off of eBay. Alpine Tech. That's the, I think that's the, anyway, I think that's the name of the company. Anyway, I just typed in LED turn signals with arrow indicator, and I got these little 8mm turn signals with the arrow, built-in arrow, so when they light up, the arrow turns green. You can get them in different colors, but I want green to mimic factory colors. So all I gotta do is drill a little hole, run these through, and they're long enough. Probably the threads on it by itself is probably 1.5 inches or maybe a hair over. So that'll be, I'll figure out where they need to be drilled and where they won't be messing with the instrument cluster if I have to move something out of the way. inside to make these fit, I'll do that. And then that way, I did separate the two wires from off of the little mounting cluster that pushes into the back of the actual circuit panel. And I did make sure that when I had the one on and blinking, because I used a light tester to see if you got power, it lights up the bulb. And then I also tested the other wire coming out of the cluster to make sure that wasn't blinking as well. So yeah, so these will take care of that problem. They'll look, I mean, to the purists, they'll notice the difference, but to the average Joe, they won't notice. And then also, again, O'Reilly's problems with their inventory, where they inventory crap, especially these older parts. So I went in, told them I got a 1970 Plymouth Duster 904 automatic, and I needed the rear transmission seal. So they order it, they get me it, I get it in, I bring it home. It won't fit. So, nope, down. So I had to do some research again, dig deep, and Precision by a release. There's the part number. That's the real one that fits the, because mine says late 70, so anything from 65 up, this one will actually work. It's the correct correct outer diameter and correct inner diameter seal. So there you go. But anyway, that's some of the mods to get the dash finished up. I'm trying to finish up the steering wheel. That's going to take a little while because it's desperate. It was in desperate need of repair. Lots of cracks, lots of pieces of plastic missing off the actual steering handle part itself. But yeah, anyway, like I said, transmission's underneath there, just waiting to be bolted up. I'm off tomorrow, Monday. I might work on it tomorrow. I might take it easy. I gotta have a tooth removed, so I gotta set up an appointment. Having trouble with, I've been taking antibiotics, so it was the gum around the tooth was swollen up a little bit. So anyway, and then I'm off Wednesday and Thursday back to back again. So probably, hopefully the weather's nice and I'll get the transmission bolted all up. And the seals, I already got the new front seal installed on the transmission, but just not the back one yet. And then we'll go from there, and I got to replace the rear pinion seal at some point. But anyway, yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I helped you out on some parts information and whatnot, and see what you think on the modification on those little lights, indicator lights, the turn signal lights I should say, and the low budget transmission support for moving the transmission, lifting and lowering the transmissions in and out. So till next time, stay tuned. Like I said, I'll show you a video of the right before and after I get the plate mounted on the floor jack. So anyway.